Inbal Ratz Gilmore, shalom.
Hi.
Columnist, researcher, you're studying the relations between Israel and the U.S. And let's first of all talk about the recent statement, lecture by Rahm Emanuel, who's here in Israel at the Tel Aviv University. He's basically blaming Israel for the rift, the historic rift. He was very harsh coming out against Israel. Is it our fault?
Well, I think not only that he was trying to blame Israel for the rift, the current rift between let's say the liberal side of America Jewry and the liberal side of the politics in America, he was ignoring completely in his speech the many, many faults that the Democratic Party is suffering from. And I think the entire speech was his way to speak over our heads to a different audience. So to look into his accusations is to avoid the larger picture.
Right, first of all, who's his target audience?
The Democratic Party's voters. I think his messages, his tone, his patronizing tone is the way that he wants his audience, that's what he wants his audience to see. And I think it's very unfortunate because to a lot of people in Israel, he represents the liberal side of America Jewry. And right now, that part of America Jewry is having an eternal discussion, at least, about this entire issue, specifically the Palestinian issue. There's a lot of questions and a lot of revelations, we can say, after October 7, things that weren't very, very clear before, now are starting to get clearer and clearer.
But for people like Rahm Emanuel, maybe it doesn't make a difference. And there are many Rahm Emanuels.
True. Rahm Emanuel specifically is looking at Israel right now as the one to blame. He's blaming Israel basically for everything that's happening in the Middle East, even after October 7. His inability to look at the larger picture. When he spoke about the Israeli people with some sympathy to their lack of patience towards the Palestinians and everything that happened. And by saying that, he felt that he's mentioning enough of what happened to the Israeli people. He refuses to acknowledge the true intentions of the Palestinians that have been like that before the establishment of the Jewish state. And after October 7, he ignores the fact the majority of the Palestinian people still support the atrocities that were committed by Hamas on October 7. And he still ignores the fact that Gaza has an under Gaza and that their intention is to annihilate us all together.
So on the one hand, you're coming out and you're explaining the problematic issues from his lecture, but what I'm trying to understand is, what do we do? There are so many people who think that way. There are so many Rahm Emanuels.
I think we shouldn't look at Rahm Emanuel and think that this is how America Jewry thinks. We simply cannot. I am working with different rabbis and from the liberal side to try to connect the knowledge to the Israeli people, especially on the conservative side here in Israel, conservative thinking, and different people who are asking questions and they want to learn more about the challenges that we're facing. And I think if we're going to look at Rahm Emanuel,
do they want to learn more?
They want to learn more because the answers that the Rahm Emanuels of America Jewry gave them, they're simply not enough. Why? Because the anti-Semitism that they're meeting, they understand that the excuse, the state of Israel, doesn't cover it. Simply, It comes from areas and from liberal establishments and organizations that used to be their partners and allies to in different fronts. And right now, they're the ones who are adopting anti-Semitic rhetoric and language and behavior, and they're confused, and they're shaken by it, and they're looking for more answers and understanding and connection.
So you're saying, despite what we're seeing, despite how terrible it is, now there's a potential of some sort of awakening?
Look, my personal point of view is that when I'm talking to my brothers and sisters around the world, there's always a potential. Always, always. I never give up on the diaspora. I think we neglected the state of Israel in history from Ben Gurion. If we don't want to blame a specific prime minister, but it was intentional to create that separation, and I think it was wrong. I think we should have mediated the reality in Israel much better to American Jewry. We should have revealed the true danger, but we cannot blame them for not understanding. After October 7, we realized that we didn't understand it. We didn't understand the potential and the danger ourselves, because we were surprised as well. And they were, they're leading Jewish life in a non-Jewish environment that is accommodating most of the years, well, at least after before October 7, we cannot blame them for not understanding the picture entirely when we were, caught in the conceptia, as we call it in Hebrew.
Well, because it was a lot about, we've seen this throughout the years, always going to, for example, Republicans or supporters of Israel, never working hard, really, to create the connections, to explain?
Look, I think it's that both sides are at fault. I'm not blaming one side. I'm not blaming the Israeli side, because, the conservative side in Israel, the political conservative sides, looked at American Jewry, the liberal side, and said, you're interfering with everything that's happening in Israel. You're donating money to organizations who are undermining our legitimacy around the world, and you're not talking to us directly. You're going above our heads. So that's that side. And on the other side, the only organizations and people who mediated the reality to American Jewry came from the left. The right wing never was never engaged in that kind of activity, never tried to reveal what we're going through. And I think the two sides, especially after October 7, should try to do more, and to try to see, look, we're not going to agree on everything, but we're part of the same people, so we really don't have a choice.
Dialogue is important. A few words about Mamdani and New York. Is this something, do you feel that this is something that we'll look back and say, wow, that was drastic, that was weird? Or is this something that we'll look back and say that's where it all started?
If we're going to say that that's where it all started, we're missing a larger picture. It's not where it started. It started with Black Lives Matter and Marxism and Islam penetrating the universities. Since the late 90s, and that's where it started. Mamdani is the result of all of that. The fact that America ignored the terrible influence on its younger generation, because it's influencing non-Jewish kids as well. It's not affecting only the younger generation within the Jewish people, where we meet in Jewish Voice for Peace and if not now, in these kind of organizations. So Mamdani is the result of America neglecting its values and opening her borders not only to people, but also to ideas who are working against the values of America. And it could get worse. if America is not going to wake up, and I'm talking not about just the liberal side, the conservative side, the Republicans and liberals, personally, I think they should work together in order to, and you have people like that. Yeah, you have John Fetterman, who's someone who speaks loudly about this, and he's a great supporter of Israel. You have Richie Torres, who is also a great supporter of Israel in talking about these issues. And we need more. We need more.
Last but not least, if we're talking about challenges, let's go to the other side. MAGA and Tucker Carlson and so many, it's not so many, but many. The voices that we're hearing, America first, America only.
I think, yes, it's a major problem because the radicals from the left and the radical from the right are speaking basically the same language. They're using the same accusations towards Israel. And I think it's an internal problem for the MAGA side. And if they're not going to address it properly, they're going to have a larger identity crisis than what they're seeing right now, because it is starting
with
It's not
only about Israel.
It's not about Israel. It's an eternal problem within America that America will have to face. It's an eternal discussion within America. It's their inability to handle disagreement. We have that problem here as well. And they need to solve it, because it's going to get bigger and bigger if it's not going to get their fully attention. And I think there's people within the Republican Party who understand the danger. And let's see what's going to be in 2 years in the next elections.
Okay, it's not the America we were familiar with a few years ago. Everything's changing.
Everything is changing, but it's not lost. There's a lot of voices and powers in America who are looking to restore what they lost. And it's in our interest that th'll succeed.
Okay, Inbal Ratz Gilmore, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.